Welcome back to Gallery 5's Artist Talks. This is the Sunday edition, and our second artist today is Tina Johnston. Take it away.
Okay. I'm a silk painter, so I'm going to give you a couple of ideas about silk. One, I'm going to go into kind of the history of silk, where it comes from. It's got a long legacy. And then I'm going to be talking about the durability of it and how I use it, and what my process is for making these paintings, some of them. So first off, let's talk about how silk comes to be. It's a fiber that we get from unwinding a cocoon from a moth. So it's a natural fiber. They take the moth that has lived on mulberry leaves and just eaten and eaten and eaten these leaves. Then it weaves itself into a cocoon. Then they take all those cocoons and they put them in hot water, and then they can take a strand off the cocoon and it starts spiraling off and giving away this strand. And they take all those strands and then they might take 8 of them together and twist them and make them into a fiber. So now you've got a little bit thicker fiber, because it was just like the strand of a spider web, really, really, really fine. So now you've got a fiber. Now they take it and they weave it on looms. So it's very labor intensive to get to your silk, but it's from something that's quite strong, like a spider web. You've seen flies caught in spider webs. I mean, you've seen that those little bitty strands are quite strong. So they take those and weave them. You can dye them at that point or leave them white, and then I buy white silk, and once it's just stretched, then I can start painting on it. But you've seen some silk that's got different colors woven into it from the beginning, from the loom. So you can do different things with it at that point. But then the history of silk, it goes way back, like I have notes on it so I don't mess up, but it goes back to 475 to 221 BC in the Shang dynasty. So it's coming out of China from like 3,000 years ago. So in China, they took to domesticating that moth, getting it steady and getting a production. The first silks that we have history of are from a funeral, and they would put onto this silk, usually with black dyes, a silhouette of a male or a female, and they'd walk before the procession. And their thoughts at that time, the history indicates that they felt they were providing a path for the person who's deceased into the afterlife. So the silk offered that kind of an avenue. From that point, and that was just black inks on white. Then they started painting, and that was like in the earlier dynasties, 700. Well, let me make sure I'm getting this right. The Shangxi dynasty, yeah, during the funeral procession did that. Okay, then the art of silk painting moved from China to their neighbors of Korea and Japan. They took it up first. Further on, it went to Iran, and it went into the Islamic countries. Then it came across the Silk Route, coming westward from the west, from Japan, coming across the southern part of China toward France, took it up, Italy took it up, and then it started being made into luxurious fabrics that would be used for upholstery or for drapery, and then eventually into fabric for clothing. And so it kind of kept moving along. It had a resurgence here in around, I think it was 1960s. They were seeing a lot more purchasing of silk clothing and things, and the fabric industry took it upon themselves to start using it in jackets and in nicer clothes. So it kept coming forward, but the use of it just in painting never died. That still continued and continued, and that's the part that I took on, where you just stretch your fabric. So this is what you usually do. So I brought that as a visual aid to pass around. It's really thin. The silk I buy is from Dharma Trading, and I get about a 12 mm, which is a mom. It can get a lot thicker than that if it's going to be used for upholstery or for like a couch. You can get up to like 22 mm, and then it's really quite a sturdy fabric. It's so strong, you can use silk like in parachutes, you can use silk in sails on a boat. It's stronger than steel. It's really, really a durable fabric, antibacterial. So it's lovely, but mostly it's lovely to look at. It's really nice on the eyes. It's sort of like a massage for your eyes when you look at it. It's really rich and soft. So it's a pleasure to handle. It's a pleasure to deal with. So once I stretch it like that on bigger pieces for these things, then you can use a resist or a Gouda, which is, it's like an Elmer's glue almost. It's a thin line you can put on that's liquid when you put it on, and then it sits into your fabric, and it makes like a fence line between spaces that you don't want to share the dye. So if I want to keep this yellowish color, that's the Gouda line in here. And I don't use the gummy Gouda because you have to take it off then with a, take it to dry cleaning place to get it out. But the Gouda that I use is water-based, and you can just soak it and it'll eventually loosen up, like putting your Elmer's glue in water, and then you can get it off. So I use the water base. But that's the job of the Gouda. The tricky part with Gouda is sometimes you'll put it on and then it'll leak through. There'll be little spots where it just breaks through, either because it wasn't thick enough or because it cracked a little bit. And so then there was a little bit of a space. And so you put your dye on, which is very runny, it's like water, it can just scoop right across into another space where you may or may not want it. A lot of times you can use that and kind of bring it out, which makes your other colors kind of compatible because it's got a little bit of that one color in it. So you don't always hate it, but I wouldn't have wanted like the green to get into my horses or the blue. So then, once you've made your marks and you've put your Gouda around it, you put in just water and you look and you put a light behind it and you see, am I seeing any leaks? Because the leak will be like a little feather coming out. And you can do that once or twice and make sure, nope, there's no leaks. I'm safe to put the color in that I want it. And then sure enough, you know, there'll be a leak somewhere eventually, because sometimes the Gouda even dissolves a little bit because of your dye. So now you've got a leak, but you can usually patch that up. You go in with more Gouda or whatever. So it's kind of fun that way. But so that's how it's done. You're stretching your fabric, you're putting your Gouda on, then you're putting your silk dyes in. Before you put it in water to get rid of the Gouda, you have to put it in a chemical bath that sets your dye into the fiber of the silk itself. So you could do that with, another choice would be to steam set it, so people can do it that way, but I like using just the chemical bath because I'm gonna be putting it in water anyway to release my Gouda. So it saves the steaming process. And then I have to frame it, which has been a real challenge for me. I have had some framed where I put the painting, which again, it's really thin fabric, so you can tape it onto a mat, like you would a watercolor, and stretch it. But sometimes I'll see a wrinkle, or I'll see that the fabric has absorbed moisture or gotten drier, because this is a natural fiber, so it picks up textures from the air that it's breathing. So then you have to go back and kind of retape it down. So I went to talk to a lady at Arlene's, and she said another way to do it, Tina, would be to stretch it around foam core paper. So a nice thick piece of foam core, and I pull mine around. First I cover the foam cord with like a white flannel or a nice piece of white cotton, just so that it has a little bit of texture underneath it. So that's taped on first. Then I put my painted silk on and tape it around and tape it down tight on the back. And then I can put it into a frame like that. So that's how those three have been done. Yeah, and I'm still exploring that option of just the best way to frame it, because it's a challenge. It's thin. I've tried using a backing on it where it's got an adhesive and you put it on that, but that also gets wrinkles on it. Sometimes again, it takes and it gives humidity. So you've got a flexing going on all the time. Anyway, so these three, my whole goal in painting, I love handling it. It's very relaxing. It's a real pleasure for me to handle it and to handle the dye. So it's really like therapy that I thoroughly enjoy. So I keep doing it. But I have a goal in mind, and my goal is to provide some sense of visual serenity. I would like people to look at things and not get angst, or not get anxious, or more upset than the world's already making us. So my goal is to try to provide something that gives your eyes a sense of being serene. So just calm. So that's what I work on. This one was from a photo I saw of a sand dune, I think, and I really liked the movement in it, so I expanded that and kept drawing and redoing it till I liked it. I put water in front of it, which it didn't have, but the horses are just a fun thing to find. You guys were doing something on Pony Up, so I went looking for horse images that I liked and kind of worked on a bunch of them till I thought I could put them together and hang out together as a group. And this one was just very abstract, just using dyes, see what they were gonna do. This one has actually got some alcohol inks in it. And after it formed itself, I went back in and tried to give a little bit more detail with the little seeds or whatever they are. So that's how we do it. Any questions on it?
I have one.
Oh, yeah. So does Peggy.
Hey, no,
Well, my quick question was, you talked about, creating the limitation with
The Gouda?
Gouda,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look like you used it in the far right one. Is that true?
No, this one, I think there's probably a line of Gouda in there, and there might have been in here, but only a little, and this might have been some Gouda. I can use blue Gouda. You can change the color of your Gouda. You can add your own dye into the Gouda and make it a different color, so that probably helped. But a lot of them, there's a couple. I could have brought one that, sometimes I'll make one without any Gouda. And yeah, you just let the dyes flow, and if you want, you can set those dyes the first time through. Let's say I set the yellow. Then I can take it out of my chemical bath and dry it overnight, and then the next time I do it, I can throw dye in again, and it can go where it wants, and it won't mix with it won't change the yellow. It'll sit on top of the yellow, but it won't blend anymore because the yellow's been set. So sometimes I do that, just playing with it and seeing what I'm gonna get. And it is, again, it's just so much fun to do. Steve had
So,
one.
yeah, a few of the artists talked about using sketchbooks, the drawing beforehand, some are intuitive, so they work as they go along. But this seems to be setting your Gouda, you have to have something in your mind. Is there a drawing underneath your silk, or?
Oh, usually, yeah, for this I had a drawing underneath. For that one, I had one next to me. I kind of just knew what I was going for. But for this, I wanted the horses fairly accurate. So then I'll take a big piece of paper. I use a sketching that I've been working on. I put that on the paper. I put the silk and the paper over a white light, or a light, and then I can trace onto my silk what I want, and I'm using there like an erasable pen or erasable water-based pencil. And then once you got your pen on, then I put the Gouda on the top of the pen, and the pen disappears because it's heat sensitive.
With the white line,
Yeah.
It's something that.
Yeah, so some are more realistic, but you can go just abstract and see what happens. They're fun. Anything else? Yeah, Deb?
How did you get started, interested in this?
Oh, well, I have a daughter in Tasmania, and they have a really big art community there. And so we were down at the waterfront, and somebody was selling a card, and it had a cutout, just a punch out of Tasmania on it, which is a state, looks a little bit like, it could have been Hawaii. Anyway, behind the cutout, they had a little scrap of their own silk, so something like this. And then on top of it was just a hole, and I saw that and I'm like, oh, what is that? Look at that color. Because the way silk blends is just usually very organic too. It just blends beautifully. So that was my start. I had to find out how that was made, and then I started looking up silk. And you can Google it. There's a real lot of silk painters out there. They go way back. A lot from France, a lot from the Caribbean, because it holds up really good, bright, vibrant colors. So then I self-taught myself a lot about it. Yeah, Deb.
Do you ever put them in a glass frame, or would that take away from?
Well, I have the glass ones at Sanford right now. I have one in glass frame. Yeah, that one's taped onto a mat, and then there's glass in front of it. And the glass in front is hard, So when your eye looks at it, it right away confronts a hard, knockable surface, and I don't want the eye to have to go through that to see the silk behind it.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
much
what I was
rather your
thinking.
eye look at the soft texture of the silk.
Okay.
The only trouble with that, it's not protected, so I told Steve the other night on Thursday night, if somebody sneezes by it, you could get, you know, they could ruin it, but you could always wash it off again.
There you go.
You could wash it. It's washable, like I could take that out of there and just put it in water again, wash it and put it back up. So I don't have to worry too much about it, but it does, it's nicer on the eyes without anything hard in front of it.
That's what I was thinking. I thought maybe the glare of the glass. would
Glare,
take away from
yeah.
it.
It's just the hardness of glass that I don't want in front of your face. What else? Is that it? Okay,
Thank you, Tina.
thanks very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.